You know, I see it as barbaric, animalistic, and something needs to be done. It's a very common trend amongst Yorubas. Okay, let me explain what she's saying. She says that when her mother is angry with her, her mother will take off her clothes, bare her nakedness, and say to her that if it's not me that born you, if it's not this, I can picture it. You know, that she thinks it's animalistic and barbaric, and it's just a form of intimidation, and mothers should not be doing this. I can't tell if this is a girl, actually.
I think it's a girl.
You think it's a girl who wrote this letter?
I have a feeling it's a girl.
That's a girl. Okay. Wale?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking, I've heard occasions of mothers who, you know, take off their regalia and come as God. You know, it's a fearful thing for you to see your mother naked, and she's telling you that if it's not these things that you suckled from, and it's not that part that brought you out, they make a pronouncement. It's a curse. It's a curse. For those who believe in that kind of thing. Now, I know even kings. There's a story in our history here of some, I think it was in Abeokuta, where the women of Abeokuta went naked and walked the streets naked because they wanted to remove a king.
I've always known that some of the things we feel powerful about as women in this country, that once you get old women to go like that, you know that is the end of the matter. Somebody must do something. It
will be sorted.
You know, I mean, that's what our, yes. Yeah.
I would like to think that it's a habit that's dying out, because I mean, can we imagine for me doing that kind of thing? It's highly unlikely, you know. So it's highly unlikely. I like to think it's a habit that's dying out, and even if this is you mustn't forget the background your mother is coming from. It's a background where things like that were the ultimate check for a wayward child, or for a child that had caused
so much
his or her mother, or slapped his or her mother, or, you know, been physically violent, that kind of thing, extremes. That was the ultimate check. The ultimate check, the pronouncement of something incurable. You know, I'd like to think it's dying out, and I'd also like to say that, you know, maybe you shouldn't provoke your mother to the extent where she goes in her birthday suit and makes decrees concerning your life.
Okay.
The Africanness in us.
Okay. Does anybody have any, you know? Okay, let me hear from somebody who I've not heard from.
Thank you. From my own experience, I have a relative, a young man, who something like this happened to. The guy never known what happened until the problem continued. He met a pastor. So the pastor who is able to see what is happening. So the man of God was able to see that your mother cursed you. He hold the nipple of her breast and then cursed you. The mother was there. So they asked the woman, is it true? She said yes. She began to cry. Why? She was angry. The child offended me. I was angry, and then I have no option but to curse him. So the guy went home, knelt down and begged the mother for forgiveness. Then the mother also cried and forgave the child, also prayed for the young man. And now the guy is making success. But my advice is this: that our mother, even when we provoke them and they curse us, tomorrow they will still come for our own help. They need us. Like when we are still young, they may see us as nothing. But time shall come when we become valuable. I mean, we become assured in society. But we can't bring out something good because they have cost us already. And by then it may be too late. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, you said something there that's interesting to me. You said, by the time we are grown, we'll become valuable. Are children not valuable from the moment they breathe their first to their parents? In fact, if you are older, you know, and something happened and you were not able to provide for your parents, does that make you any less valuable as a person? You know, I'm just raising other issues here because we tend to see our children as meal tickets. You know, people have children as meal tickets. That's a different, you know.
Thanks, Lumilola. I think I understand where the young man is coming
from. Yeah.
And like Fumi said, I think, you know, it doesn't matter what you're able to produce, your value at any age, because you're human, and they are the ones who are responsible for bringing you into the world. You're of no less value because you have offended them. I also want us to be very careful the things we believe. You have to be careful. I'm not talking voodoo here or whatever. You have to be careful what you allow, because there are a lot of people, and it's possible there are those who, even seated here, a lot of people who go around the world thinking that, you know, my problems must have stemmed from me having offended my mother or my father, or the old man who slipped on an orange that I threw on the floor. And so, you know, I can't pass school, I can't get a job, I can't find friends, I can't find a wife or find a husband. I think you have to be careful what you hold in your heart. Sometimes you're responsible for those things. Often, I think. You're responsible for the things that happen to us.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, the kind of scenario you painted, for example, if that feeling, that boy had always, you know, because people say these things, sometimes when these things come forward, people read your situation and they say to you what you want to hear anyway. Yes. There's that tendency, if there could have been that tendency that there was some tension between son and mother, that because of that resolution from what happened with the pastor, because then they were able to resolve it, you know, the dissipation of that tension alone gives the kind of mindset that allows you flourish. That's why they say if you want to be successful in life, your home is so important, who you marry, and all of that. So sometimes it's not even, it's about the things that we believe in. You understand? It's about the things that we choose to believe. And it is true that by the time a mother does that, it's because if your father, what's the worst way a father will show his disapproval? Oftentimes it disowns you. Most mothers cannot get to that point where they will refuse to deal with you anymore. So in frustration, they, at least culturally, that's what people used to do, that by the time you see me like this, then you desist from your way. It's an extreme reaction, and it's also completely unnecessary. There are different ways of appealing, of, you know, of parenting, you know, and it comes from understanding how human beings, how human bodies work. It's like what we know for sure for now about teenagers not being able to make some kind of decisions. At that time, a frustrated mother would have caused the child in frustration. It could also be that the mother at that time is menopausal.
True.
She too, she's having hot flashes. She doesn't know what's happening in her body. You know, so there's need for education, you know, to understand why our bodies react the way they do, why we take the decisions we take. That's not to discountenance, you know, some things that we don't, a lot of things happen that we don't understand. But it is true that it's traumatic for both parents in a situation where the mother is taking off her clothes and cussing. You know, it's not necessary. But I also think that perhaps the children, since the children concerned have more education and all that, you should just, what Yoruba say, that's yeah. When you're older, when you're an older person, you know, that kind of thing. That kind of my mom, what's all this?
You're dressing?
What's all this? Cover your mommy, what's all this? Should they have said sorry? And you can dissipate the tension. But to be able to do that, it comes from communication. The parent and child had always had a good system of communication. I mean, you are young now, but you will be parents. These are the things to keep in your mind as you go forward and take the decision. And parenthood should be a decision. You take a decision that you are ready to bring another person forward. It shouldn't be an automatic